Bosses Start Somewhere. Hey y'all, thanks for tuning in to the very first episode of Bosses Start Somewhere, hosted by your girl, Riley Brookstith. And I am so excited because my show is finally here. For those of you who don't know me, I love to be inspired and I love to inspire. So I thought, what better way to inspire others and myself than to create my own platform where I can talk to some incredibly creative people about how it all began for them. Bosses Start Somewhere is supposed to empower you and inspire you. I feel that with the rise of social media, we've all become so obsessed with the destination that we've forgotten to embrace the journey. So I really wanted to create a place to talk to some of my heroes as well as some people who have become my heroes about their journey and their start, because we all have to start somewhere no matter what level we're on. With that said, tune in weekly to bossesstartsomewhere.com for your weekly dose of inspiration. It's your girl, Riley Brookstith. Stay bossy. Bosses Start Somewhere. Bosses Start Somewhere. Hey y'all, welcome back to Bosses Start Somewhere. It's your girl Riley Brookstith, and I am so hyped for the show. I just want to jump into it. Today I have a very special guest. He's an American film, television, Broadway actor and producer. He's best known for his work in Hulu's revival of All My Children, playing A.J. Chandler. He starred alongside James Spader in The Blacklist, Kevin Bacon in The Following, as well as Liam Neeson in A Walk Among the Tombstones. And to top it off, he's a 2-time Emmy winner. So without further ado, I would love to give a warm welcome to Eric Nelsen.
What's up?
What's up? Thank you so much for coming on my show.
Oh, are you kidding me? When you reached out, I was so excited. No, I'm happy to. Thank you for having me.
Of course. I also want to say congratulations. I know I'm 4 years late, but you're married now and you and your wife are doing amazing things.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been so much fun, and we're producing partners together and, collaborate, so much as a couple and personal wise, obviously. So it's been kind of fun to have that partner in crime to kind of get to go through it together.
I bet. I mean, it's also so rare that you find couples, especially in Hollywood, that can do business.
I know. It's so true. And we got married young, and we're still both pretty young. I mean, I'm only 26. So it's like people in our industry are like, first of all, you're married. Second of all, you're doing all this stuff. Third of all, like, what's going on? My wife's from Texas. I'm from Florida, and both of our parents married young, and we come from family, friends, and stuff. That's just normal down there.
Yeah, and I'm from Virginia, so I'm used to that. I mean, everyone's married that I was in high school with.
But no director or writer or producer that I work with, they're always like, "Why? Why would you do that to yourself?"
Yeah, I know.
I'm like, y'all just don't get it.
They don't, which is why I wanted to highlight how amazing it is that you guys are in love, married, in Hollywood, doing your thing and killing it. But let's jump right into Bosses Start Somewhere, Eric. Just to tell you a little bit about the show, I created BSSW for people to tune in to hear creatives talk about how it all began for them. So for you, how did you get into acting? How did it all begin for you?
It's funny, actually. I was living in West Palm Beach, Florida. And I had so much energy as a kid and was playing, every sport you could imagine. And my mom, I had an older sister who was in dance classes.
Okay.
And so my mom was like, hey, would you want to take a dance class? Your sister's here. I think it'd be fun for you guys to bond. I was always bouncing off the wall. So I was like, yeah, that's sure. Why not?
Right.
So I started in these dance classes. And I started loving it. I started taking like all different hip hop and tap.
No
and like
way.
I was really, really getting into it. And a couple of the girls that I was in class with was like, Eric, you're so funny. You have so much energy. Like, you should take the acting class. It's so much fun. And I think I'm like, I don't know, 10. And I was like, yeah, that sounds great. So then started taking the acting class and completely fell in love with that. I started touring all over the country through the dance studio, and I was actually a national tap dance champion, which is crazy. Wow. But that brought me to New York for the first time, and I started working with this private coach. His name is Lane Napper on the dance side, and he also happened to be a dialogue coach and actor on a bunch of Nickelodeon shows at the time. And he was telling my mom, he's like, this kid's got it. You have to pursue this. Like, I want to work with him. And so he literally took out like so many months of his life helping me. And long story short, we ended up making the move to New York. And I got signed with an agent right away, and all because of dance. It kind of like segued me into acting, and now all I do is acting, and that's my passion and love. But it did stem from the arts, and it stemmed from dancing, and that'll always be a part of me. But that's how I got into acting originally.
That's dope. Did you face challenges becoming an actor?
I think because there was no pressure, and it was really just, hey, why not? We're at a place in our life where we can try something new and let's see what happens type thing. We didn't really know what to expect. And I think because of that, things just started popping. Like, got an agent right away. I ended up booking the first job that I went out on was actually a role on The Guiding Light, an old soap opera that's not even around anymore.
Amazing.
Yeah, and it just started popping, and it was crazy. And originally we were supposed to just go to New York for a couple months to try it out and see what happens, and it turned into 11 years.
That's amazing, because you truly fell in love with the craft with no aspiration to be in the business.
Exactly. And to this day, that's what it's about for me. It's not about the money. It's not about the fame. It's truly a love, and I don't take it for granted every single day, because I know it's a blessing to even be able to, have a tiny footprint in this industry. Yeah. So I'm still just trucking along like I was when I was a 12-year-old boy, just, loving what I'm doing and never wanting it to end. So I think that's kind of what's gotten me here.
What do you love more, Broadway or film and TV? Because I know you worked on the musical 13 with Ariana Grande, right?
I did.
Awesome.
Yes. And it really was. And I've done some plays as well in the city. And, it's a tough question. I actually have been asked that, a good amount of times. And I feel like every stage in my life, the answer changes. Like right now, I'm all about television. It's a little more structured schedule. It's kind of like having a 9 to 5. You show up on set at this time, you're done by this time. It's a little more, not normal of a life, but a little more structured.
Yeah, it feels like you actually have a day job.
Exactly. And it's also cool because you're working with new cast members that come in and out as guest stars and whatnot, and new directors most of the time. New writers even are circling throughout different episodes, and every day is a new experience. Not to say that theater isn't, but you're doing the same material every day with the same actors. So it's like you have to find the little things that bring out, organic new experiences every show, because after 8 shows a week for months and months and months, right, on stage, it can get a little tedious. And it's like, where can I find that little organic, piece of whatever that's sparking this new performance for me.
Right.
And a lot of the times that stemmed from the audience, which you can't really duplicate that on a film or TV set, at least not for me, because I don't do like multicam sitcoms where you have a live studio audience. It's just not something I've done. I would love to do it, but it's not something I've actually done in my career. So I can't attest for that. But right now I would say television, because of the scheduling, and theater still has an incredible place in my heart, and I would return tomorrow if I could. But I'm liking the whole TV groove right now.
I bet. Now, are you training all the time? How do you keep your inspiration alive in Hollywood?
Yeah, I watch a lot. I think it's important to do your research. I'm always watching the shows and films and stuff to see, first of all, what my other, peers are doing, and, kind of keeping relevant through that, but also coaching all the time. I've got private coaches that I will phone in with from New York, and I've worked with a coach named Michael Wilson out here in LA. among others.
Amazing.
So I do strongly believe that you never stop learning, and it's like a pencil. You got to stay sharp or else it's not going to write right. So
Absolutely. Now, how was it working with James Spader on The Blacklist? I love that show.
it was really cool. Not going to lie, I played a super creep. I was kind of like the leader of this cult, just like off the wall,
What season?
Oh gosh, what season? It was, they're like deep in it.
Yeah, they're deep. Okay, season 2. God, so I saw this. I'm like, I have to go back. The Kenyon family, vaguely.
Yes, yeah. So I'm like, my face is covered in dirt most of the episode, so you wouldn't even know it's me, but you'll know. And spoiler alert, I get killed at the end of the episode. But it's one of those things that my grandma likes to say. It's not one she's going to go to the country club and show her friends. I've been playing these like really dark roles lately. That's and it's so not my, not who I am by any stretch of the imagination. So my grandma, who's like this little Minnesotan from Minnesota, and oh gosh, Eric, why do you have to do this to me? She can't watch it. Like, she hates it. She loves bragging to her friends that I have something coming out, but when it comes to like anything dark or creepy, she just brushes it under the rug.
Oh, family.
Yeah, and like my mom, for instance, I was shooting I think it was Blue Bloods a while ago, and of course I die in that too. I tend to die a lot.
Listen,
but there was a photo that I had them take of me like on, like the bed after I was died, like in the morgue type thing. And I sent it to my mom. I was like having a bad day, and she lost it. She's like, "Don't ever send me something like that again. I don't ever want to see you like that." Like, I thought it was going to be hilarious. And of course, she just, she still has a hard time separating the whole business from reality thing.
That's actually hilarious, because I did something very similar to my mom. When I was on the set of Castle, I sent her a picture in my dead makeup, and she was like, "Riley?" I'm like, "Mom, I'm on set.
So good.
Right? Okay, back to The Blacklist. Give us a little insight on what it's like working on a set like that.
Yeah, it's crazy when you meet these just like legends, and it's no different. You're like sitting in a room, you're in your cast chairs, just kind of like chalking it up, and it's like you're just sitting there with someone who's, just an average person, and he's just humble and happy to be there, and so engaging with like his other actors that it's actors like that just make an experience coming onto a show so, welcoming and warm and not intimidating at all, because you never really know. I mean, you know how it is. Like, you're coming into the show that's kind of already got a groove, and you just want to do good. So, you're kind of blindly entering this space that's kind of this machine that's been trudging along. And it's like, well, shoot, I don't want to ruin the groove or be that guy that, so you just try to like.
Yeah, it's like that set etiquette.
Yeah, and you never know. And it's like, this person's not okay talking, and, this person does their own thing. And, you definitely get that vibe at different times, but I did not get it on that set, and it was really cool. It was a lot of fun.
It sounds like it. It sounds so dope. I want to jump into the production side of things. You and your wife have your own production company. Talk a little bit about what you guys have produced.
My wife and I have been independently producing. We have, seen Eric Nelsen Productions, but we started with an independent film that I starred in called Chasing Yesterday. And that was our introduction into producing. And we really, really liked it and had so much fun learning about the other side of the business. Because as an actor, we show up, everything's already done for us.
Right.
We don't even have to touch our own face. People do that for us. They put on our makeup, they put on our clothes, they should tell us where to stand. Like, everything has been done. But then you come on board as a producer, and you have so much more respect to how a project gets from, pre-development to the actors being on set and just showing up. So for me, that was the cool draw to it, was, wow, to have my hand in the creative process, in the decision-making process, even reading actors and looking for actors for our projects. Like, it's just like all the behind the scenes that you don't experience and even know about as an actor.
Yeah.
Getting to be a part of that for me was the coolest thing, and that's why I'm continuing to produce.
Wow, so you're producing and acting simultaneously.
Yes. So I also produce a show on Amazon called The Bay, and that's what I've won my 2 Emmys for. And I'm also a series regular on the show. So it's been really cool to kind of have that double-handed, double-sided, ability in a project, and it's been really rewarding. And in fact, I'm actually leaving tomorrow, I can't even believe it already, to go shoot in Belgium and in England.
Oh my God.
For The Bay, because we just got a new international distributor who wants to do a little press tour through Europe, and we're going to Paris. Not Paris. We're going to go to Cannes.
Congratulations!
But we're shooting. Thank you. Yes, we're shooting an episode in Belgium, and then when we wrap that, we're going to go shoot an episode in England, and then we're going to go to France to go do some press for it. So it's crazy. It's all. I can't even
wrap your head around. It's got to be crazy.
It is, and it's fun, and it's been a dream to be able to I've never been able to do this. I've been an actor now in this business for 12 years, but I've never been able to get paid to go shoot something internationally, and I've always wanted to do that. Wow. And so now
I'm so glad I get to catch you with dreams coming true tomorrow on my Bosses Start Somewhere show.
Literally, from day one, it's been a dream. My wife and I have been developing this travel show, anything we could try to do to travel the world and do what we love and be in front of the camera.
Yeah,
it hasn't happened yet, and tomorrow is the day that it happens for me. So it's
congratulations, you deserve it. I mean, you really
thank you.
So I want to talk about The Affair. Is that a series regular role?
Recurring.
Amazing. I've heard so many great things about it. I've only seen a few episodes. Were you so excited to book that?
I was really excited. I actually had never watched the series until I booked it. And then I always, when I'm auditioning for a show that's already been running, I always watch at least an episode before I audition to kind of get the tone and that sort of thing. But I had no means, I didn't know any storylines. I didn't know anything about it. So I booked it, which actually you'll appreciate this because it doesn't happen a lot, off a self-tape.
Yes!
So I was in LA, the show shoots in New York, and I guess I had a little, I don't know, something was working in my favor that day. And yes, I booked off tape, and they asked me if I could fly to New York the next day. I was actually in Houston when I found out with my wife. We were doing some relief efforts down there after the hurricane. And I was like, yeah, I know. And she's from Texas, so she had a lot of friends and stuff down there that were affected. So we had to go help support.
Sorry.
No, thank you. But it's the amount of, support that they've been getting is just beautiful, and it's great.
Absolutely. Just to see that love in the air is great.
Yeah, exactly. So we were down there. I got the call that I booked it. They needed me to fly out in the morning, so I did that. And all of my stuff and half the show actually shoots in Montauk, which is, if anyone of y'all haven't been, it is one of the most beautiful places I've been to in the U.S. And it was the first time I'd been, and it's just gorgeous. I mean, they put me up in this condo, right, this private condo right on the beach. So I'd wake up, walk 3 steps, and I was on this private beach in front of the ocean in Montauk. And watching the sunrise every morning and just filming and being there. It was truly magical.
It sounds like it. It sounds like an absolute dream come true. I kind of want to switch gears for a second and talk to you a little bit about the difference between an in-room audition and a self-tape. What advice can you give an actor when they are recording their auditions at home?
It's crazy because 5 years ago even, self-taping was nobody did it. It wasn't, I would say 5 years ago it wasn't popular at all. And over the last couple of years, it's just become the way of auditioning. I mean, half of my auditions are on self-tape now because it's cheaper for casting. They don't, they can see everybody in the entire world through one role, just through self-tape. And because of that, it makes it a lot harder to book. Therefore, you do have to make it the best possible tape you can make it. You need good lighting.
Okay.
You need a good backdrop, a solid wall, or, if you're an actor and you're trying to book, invest in yourself. get a backdrop. You can buy them at different camera stores. And, I have a little nail on the top of my wall, and I just hang up my backdrop when I need to tape. And it just gives you a clean, solid background. So it's not distracting. You're not in front of pictures or, trust me, I did the whole guerrilla for years before it was like, I didn't realize it was going to be such a huge thing. I did the whole guerrilla self-tape filming thing and, had a janky camera and janky lighting. I was trying to like have one friend holding a lamp pointing at my face because that was my lighting. Yeah. And another friend like, wobbling the camera with no tripod, trying to get it right. I mean, like sitting in front of like a bookshelf with distracting behind me. It's like, no, that doesn't work anymore. Yeah. You can't. You got to invest. Get a nice little camera if you can, or even an iPhone shoots incredible, but make sure it's, you got it on a tripod. You've got great lighting. I've invested in some studio lighting, which, you can get for like $100 or something. And it's beautiful. And it just, puts that twinkle in your eye. And, those are the little things that are going to set your tape above the rest. And it's worth it. And if this is something you want to do as a career, it's an investment. It's a write-off. You're an actor. These are tools you need to perform. So, you can utilize that as well. But yeah, the main thing is just having a good space to shoot, quiet, good lighting, good sound, good camera, and you don't need to spend a lot of money to get those things.
It's so true. And that's such good advice because I know so many actors can benefit from that. I also want to ask you, when it comes to auditioning, what do you prefer? Self-tapes or in-room auditions?
It's funny. Like I go through my stages with that as well, because like sometimes I don't, because it's like, oh, do they even see my tape? At least when you're in person, you're looking at them, so they're seeing your work. Yeah. But on tape, you're like, I'm sending this into probably the cloud somewhere, and if I get lucky, some person on the other side is gonna watch it and they're gonna like it and whatever. So it's a little, I'm a bit of a control freak. So the fact that I'm not watching them watch me, or I'm not experiencing their, reactions to it makes me nervous. But at the same time, it gives us as the actor the ability to make the perfect tape. And you can spend 10 hours in a room taping something if you need to. I don't. I'm like, but you can. I know friends that just sit there all night and like, I didn't like that. Let me try that again. Yeah. That's the beauty. That's the beauty of it. It is a blessing at the same time. So I do like them a lot, because if you're not comfortable or you want to give them a couple different options, you have that ability. I'll just send my agent like 2 different versions, which is what I did for The Affair, actually. I had one version that was a lot darker and cockier in a way. And then I had one that was a little more set back and not as abrasive. And I don't know which one they submitted, but at least I gave them a couple options.
Exactly. And it allows you to look at your work in a self-reflecting way where you can hone in on those areas that need fine-tuning,
Totally. And it gives you a chance to, put a script on its feet with another friend or somebody who's going to be in that room reading with you. Because a lot of the times I'll say to all my friends, whenever you need a self-tape, let me help you. Because even me just reading with my other friend, I'm learning from that. I'm pulling from it. I'm investing into it as well. And maybe I'll see my friend do something that I'm like, oh, cool. That was really cool. I'm going to use that at some point for one of my auditions.
And we need each other, It's so funny that you say that, because I'm running after this to my friend's house to do a self-tape. I'm bringing my tripod and my iPhone, and we're just going to thug it out.
Yeah, it's important. Totally. And exactly, it is important, and it gives you a chance to kind of like break those walls too with different friends. Like, it breaks insecurities. Like, if you're reading with someone who's, this incredible actor and just booked all these things, and you're like, well, I haven't really been working, so I'm nervous. I don't want to like look bad in front of this person. It's like, no, break those walls down. Do it, because that's what's going to help you. That's what's going to like give you the comfort of, not giving a damn.
So true. So what advice could you give an actor, Eric, that's hustling this career, really trying to make it work for them?
Well, I would say if you don't love it, don't do it. Because there's so many people in this business that are like, maybe I'll become an actor, or, I don't know what else to do, so maybe I'll turn to acting. It's so hard as it is. So if that passion and love isn't there, I would advise you to look elsewhere, because it's just, there's so much that you have to go through as an actor. Nothing is promised. Your shows end. You're never guaranteed anything, and there's so many people that do love it. So if you don't, it's going to show, and odds are it's not going to work out. So just make sure it's something you love and need to be doing, because, there are actors like you, Riley, and myself that, like, if you love it, and you're going to fight for it. So you can't beat somebody out who's got that fire in them.
It's so true, and I couldn't have said it any better than that. And even going off of that, actors, remember to have fun. I know it's hard to slave these auditions and hustle to get that part, but if you can do anything, remember why you do it. Eric, I know you love flying all over the country and all over the world doing what you love.
Oh my gosh, 100%. And that stems from that love. And then if you love it, you're having fun, and then it doesn't feel like a job. Even though it is a job, it's something you're so passionate about that when you can just sit back and you're on set and you're just looking around and you're like, wow, I'm still pinching myself. And, no, it never gets old. Try to take advantage of every situation you're in as well, because, when you're on these sets and you're sitting in your trailer and you're not doing anything but sitting in there, I'm like, no, get out there. If you can sit and watch your other actors work, because that's where you're going to learn. Like, make friends with the AD, make friends with the editor, because those are the people that are bringing it all together. Yeah. And those are the people that are going to remember you if they're ever on a set and they're looking for an actor. Like, oh my God, that guy was so much fun to work with and so engaged, and you could tell he loved what he was doing. We want him. Yeah. And I think that goes a long way in this business.
Totally.
So another, maybe helpful tip is, just because you're there and you kind of want to be out of the way, which is important, but you want to learn. Every set, there's something there that, they're offering you something. So take advantage of it.
I absolutely love it. Before I let you go, I want you to jump into Nightmare Cinema. I also want to say thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been such a pleasure having you on.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
This has been awesome, and it's been so great catching up with you.
Oh my God, likewise.
Nightmare Cinema. Okay, well, it's going to be scary, so if you don't like horror, don't see it. But
I'm so excited.
It's an epic horror movie. Mickey Rourke is starring in it. Richard Chamberlain is starring in it. I'm starring in it as well. And it's an anthology. So it's 5 different segments of a horror movie with one continued plot line throughout. And so each 5 segments of this film have been directed by 5 of the biggest horror movie directors in our industry right now. Stop. So you're getting 5 different flavors in one movie with the storyline that's continuing throughout. But they were like, you know what, how can we do something new and creative? And Mick Garris, who's a legend, and he was the one that came up with this concept. And he's like, I want 5 of the best directors and writers to write 5 different parts of one movie, direct 5 different parts of one movie, and we'll make it into one epically scary horror anthology film. And that's what they did. And they recently released the trailer at Monsterpalooza, and people went nuts for it. It's not publicly released yet, but I've gotten the chance to see it, and it looks horrifying and incredible. And to be able to work with these directors has been a dream come true, and I'm so excited for you guys to see it. And I played 2 different parts, which is kind of crazy.
Can you go into? Yeah, so it's Fred and the welder, right?
And the welder, okay. Yeah. So, Fred is this modest pushover, really, really been pushed around in his life type of guy, who's never had, kind of the leg up. The girl he's in love with he basically doesn't even know he exists, and his best friend is taking her from him, and he's just this guy that literally you can see right through. And there's a part in the movie where something happens, and I turn into this other character, the welder, who's the exact opposite. This badass, like, I don't want to give anything away.
You can't. I'm on the edge of my seat.
He has a transformation, and he does some terrible things, and it was fun to do polar opposite characters in one movie. I'll tell you that.
And when is it released?
They haven't set a release date yet.
Okay.
So I think our premiere is Halloween.
Amazing.
Yeah, and then I think we're gonna be like in the like Get Out slot of like January or something like that.
Okay.
Kind of like, you know, when Get Out came out. I think that was the slot they're going for. But I'm not sure. They haven't released anything yet. But it's finished, and we recently wrapped. So, you know, it takes a little bit. But I know we're doing a Halloween premiere, and then I'm sure the official trailer will be released any day now, and the release date of the film will probably be in the trailer. So I'll most likely find out when you guys find out when the trailer drops.
What else is new?
Exactly.
Well, Eric, thank you so much again. It's been such an honor to have you on the show. I'm so excited that I was able to catch up with you.
I really appreciate it. It was great catching up with you, and congrats on the podcast and everything else you have going on. This is just epic. I'm so happy people like you are doing things like this. So it's been great.
That means the world to me. Well, y'all, thanks again for tuning in to the very first episode of Bosses Start Somewhere. I hope my actors got as much inspiration as I received from Eric Nelsen on the show today. Make sure you're on the lookout for Nightmare Cinema and check out The Bay on Amazon. Tune in next week for your next dose of inspiration. It's your girl, Riley Brooks-Stith. Stay bossy. Bosses Start Somewhere.